Hey buds! Welcome to another episode of Bible Q&A. Today we're discussing, why did Jesus dismiss his mother in John chapter 2 verse 4? In Cana, Jesus and his disciples were invited to a wedding, and eventually the guests ran out of wine. Mary, knowing her son was a miracle worker, told him about the situation, only for him to say, "Woman, what have I to do with thee? Mine hour is not yet come." John chapter 2 verse 4. Why would Jesus say such a thing when Mary was just asking for a favor from him? Well, given that Jesus went and did the miracle anyway, he probably didn't mean to say anything rude to her. In fact, he wasn't even talking to her at all. He was talking to us. Similarly, Mary thought that Jesus was saying that he had nothing to do with the serving of wine at the wedding, but he was actually referring to the wine he would serve at the Last Supper. He told his disciples in Matthew, "And he took the cup, and gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins." Matthew chapter 26, verses 27 to 28. This wine would represent the blood that would be spilled during the Passion. With his seemingly strange reply, Jesus was telling Mary that his wine would only be served to the guests, i.e., his blood would be shed to redeem the sins of the world, according to John chapter 3 verse 16, when God allowed his enemies to execute him. At that point, his hour, or the time when he would perform the Passion, would arrive, but until then, it would be yet to come. For example, when some Jews wanted to throw him off a cliff in Luke chapter 4 verses 29 to 30, he simply disappeared, and when the Pharisees wanted to arrest him in Mark chapter 12 verse 12, his popularity among other Jews prevented them from doing so. Only when Jesus was left alone, both by God and by his followers, in Mark chapter 14 verse 50, could he be arrested and executed. Now, Christ didn't reference the wedding with his reply, but the wedding also had a spiritual meaning, and a parable he'd tell later would make this clear. In Matthew 22, a king, God, organized a marriage for his son, Jesus. The woman he was marrying represented the saints, and their bridal outfit was described in Revelation chapter 19 verse 8. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. It can thus be extrapolated that the woman wearing the linen is the saints themselves. When everything was ready, God sent his servants, who represent the prophets, according to Amos chapter 3 verse 7, to invite the Jews to this marriage, or this new project he was building with Jesus and the saints. However, the Jews, under the leadership of the Pharisees, rejected Christ, and persecuted many of his followers afterwards. Thus, God went to foreign nations, linked by highways to Israel, to find people, righteous or unrighteous, to attend the marriage. These represent the Gentiles, who the Jews considered unholy, but who enthusiastically accepted the message, according to verses like Acts chapter 13, verses 48 to 49. However, once they get there, they have to wear the proper clothing, which for Christians is a righteous lifestyle. Isaiah compared clothing to virtue towards the end of his prophetic book. "I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God. For he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels." Isaiah chapter 61 verse 10. If they don't, God will rescind their invitation, according to Matthew chapter 22 verse 13. The spiritual significance of this simple event shows us that many biblical statements have meaning we might not have thought about before. It is only with enlightened reading, fueled by the Holy Spirit, according to Isaiah chapter 11 verse 2, that we can understand the hidden meanings of these verses and many others, unlike Mary, who only saw her son's statement as an odd reply. And that is where I'm going to stop with this Bible Q&A. Why did Jesus dismiss his mother in John chapter 2 verse 4? Christ's reply was a prophecy regarding the offering of his wine or blood for the remission of the world's sins, and the wedding he was at was a representation of the spiritual wedding between Christ and the saints, to which the entire world was invited. Thank you for listening! Don't forget to like and subscribe.